What's up, y'all? It's Celeste, and it's been a little while since I made a tea update. So I'm just about 7 months on tea now because last year I took low-dose tea for about 3 months, and then I stopped for about 6 months, and then I started back at the beginning of this year. So it's about 7 months total, although it wasn't 7 months in a row. So the reason that I stopped taking it last year is because my intention all along in taking tea has always been to take it temporarily in order to get my voice to drop to a level that I want it to be at, and then stop at that point, because voice changes are one of the effects of tea that do stick around even when you don't have an ongoing supply of tea in your system or an elevated level of tea in your system. So that's my plan. The other thing, one of the other effects that is a permanent effect is hair growth, which some of it can kind of revert a little bit, but basically it doesn't ever go back all the way to where you were pre-tea. And facial and body hair is one of the things I really don't want. So I've been trying to balance those kind of all along and just trying to like figure out how far I can take it with my voice without getting too far with the hair stuff. And so that's why I stopped last year, because the hair was starting to come in and I kind of was like, I don't know about this. But then after a break, I decided to try again. So that's what I've been doing this year. And I've actually been at a significantly higher dose this year. Last year when I took tea, I started at 25 milligrams a week, and I think I went up to maybe like 30 or so by the end, but it was basically around 25 to 30 the whole time. This year I started actually at a little bit lower dose, but I pretty quickly increased it, and I was around like the 40 to 50 range for a couple of months, and then for the last little while, I probably should have looked to see exactly how long, but for the last little while I've been around 100 milligrams a week. It's been kind of weird because what happened was, and I'm trying not to get into too rambly of a tangent here, but when I got tea last year, I got a 10 milliliter vial of it, and that lasted me through like last month, because I was on a low dose and because I had this long break in the middle of it. So I never actually got a refill on my tea that whole time. I was just able to keep using the same vial for that whole time. So that ran out, and so I had to go back to the doctor in order to get a refill because it had been so long since I'd been there. I hadn't had labs done since last June and everything. So I went and got labs done, and then I got my refill, and everything was great, except that now the way that they do tea apparently is they don't really give you 10 milliliter vials. I guess some places do, because I've seen a couple people online still getting those, but a lot of people that I've talked to have said that it's moving in that direction of 1 milliliter vials only, which is really annoying for a number of reasons. One is because it's significantly more expensive, for me at least. Last year when I got the 10 milliliter vial, my copay was $32, and that lasted me, let's just say it lasted me about 6 months or so, at varying doses, but still. Now, when I get a 1 milliliter vial, it is $16. So that's quite a bit more expensive. And it was even worse because my first vial that I got a couple weeks ago when I first refilled it, the pharmacy told me that it was a single-use vial and that I was basically supposed to just draw my prescribed amount and then just throw away the rest of the vial and then come back in a week and get another one and do the exact same thing. So they only gave me one syringe to use for it, like one syringe and one needle. So I couldn't even change the needle to draw and inject, which was ridiculous. I didn't realize that until I left. But anyway, that was a whole mess, which you probably read about on my Instagram if you follow me there, because I kind of ranted about it a couple times. But I finally did get another pharmacy to fill the prescription in not that way, because it's ridiculous. I got some more syringes, although I had to go back and get some of them changed out too. But anyway, I don't want to go into all that. My point is just that like these 1 milliliter vials are just a pain to deal with. It's really hard to get the full amount of them out, at least for me. It was just so much easier when it was 10 milliliters and like you always had a decent amount in there until the very end. And then yeah, it was hard at the very end, but like that was after several months. That wasn't every couple of weeks. So anyway, that's irritating, but at least I have the tea now again. So anyway, what I was trying to say was that my dose has been kind of weird the last few months, or last month and a half to 2 months, because I got up to the end of my vial, and then I skipped a week because I had to wait for the labs and all this stuff. So then I went back to the doctor and they gave me a shot there, but it was a little bit different dose, and it was a little bit lower dose than I had been taking. So it's just been a little bit weird the last little while, but basically I'm at 100 milligrams now. So because of that, because I increased the dose, I have seen some more significant changes in the last little while, including my voice, which is, again, the primary reason why I'm taking tea. So I have had a couple people mention my voice in some things other videos that I posted and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. I'm glad that it's not just in my head, that it is actually lower. I have, as I've mentioned a couple times, I've been taking voice lessons, and my singing voice range has not really gone down. Like, my lowest note hasn't really gone down in probably like a month, at least a month, even though my speaking voice has lowered in that time. So I'm not sure why that is, but my lower range is kind of strengthening, I guess. So I don't know, maybe it's just kind of like gradually going down. I'm trying to get it just a little bit lower, and then I'll be happy, I think. But for now, I am still pretty happy with my voice. I'm definitely happy with, like, I'm a lot happier with it now than I was before, before I took tea, even before, like, a couple months ago. It's really made a big change. So I will go ahead and put a little comparison here. I'll do pre-tea, and then maybe 2 months ago, and then today, because I think there's a pretty significant change even from 2 months ago. So tell me what you think after you watch this.
Today is March 14th, 2017, and this is my voice pre-tea. Today is February 20th, 2018, and this is my voice just about 5 months on tea.
Today is April 21st, 2018, and this is my voice 7 months on tea. So it is significantly lower. It's not quite where I want it to be. It's getting very close, I think. We'll just have to see. So the other thing is the hair situation, which that has also increased quite a bit, which is not fun. But I feel like since I started back on tea, and since I decided to take this risk again of trying to balance the things, I guess I've felt like it's a little bit more acceptable risk, or I guess the way I would say it is I'm more willing to push it farther, even though I'm not really crazy about the hair stuff. It's kind of like I really am enjoying the voice changes, so I'm more willing to push the hair stuff a little bit farther than I really expected I ever would. But it is really getting close to where I'm not going to be happy with it anymore. So I am at the point now where I'm having to shave my face about every 3 to 4 days, which is not ideal, but it's as long as I don't have to do it every day, it's not that bad, I guess. And I'm hoping some of that will kind of revert a little bit when I stop taking tea, because I've heard that that can happen, even though it doesn't go away completely. So I've been doing that, and it's a little bit hard to photograph the hair growth because, for one thing, because I can't really let it grow out all the way before I take pictures, because I don't feel comfortable having it there when I'm like around people. So I'm shaving it every few days. Also because it's just really hard to photograph, like, because you have to get up so close to really see it well enough to take a picture of it. Then by the time you get that close, it's really hard to get the depth of field to, like, I don't know, it's just really hard to get everything in focus and everything. So this is the best I could do. I will put some pictures up here. And so, I mean, you can definitely see there is some hair growth there on my face, all around my face, on my sort of mustache area, sides of my mouth, on my chin, on my sides of my face, like my cheeks up to my sideburns, and a little bit on my neck and stuff. I think it doesn't show up entirely as much in the pictures as it does in real life. Like, there's more in real life than it kind of looks like in the pictures, but you can see still, like, how it is, like, darker hairs and more of them, which is not fun. So there's that. And then also have quite a bit more hair just about everywhere else. But the most, I don't know if the most noticeable, but like the most, what I'm watching the most, I guess, is the hair on my chest and stomach, because I don't want to have all of that to be actually like hairy, which it will if I keep taking tea, because it's already kind of getting to that point as far as like where I can see it coming in. It's not thick yet. It's not really dark yet, except a little bit on my actual like lower stomach, which is kind of the area that I talked about in my last update, that I had started to get kind of this like happy trail kind of thing, which I'm actually fine with that. That's actually kind of cute, I think. So that's totally fine. But getting hair all over the whole rest of my chest and stomach is not what I want. And again, it's really hard to take pictures of. So I took some video that's like really awkward taken with my phone, so I'm sorry. And I'm also breathing in it, so it's kind of weird looking. But just to give you kind of an idea of what the hair looks like, this was the best I could do. So here you go. So as you can see, it is like mostly very light, thin hairs. So you can't even actually really see most of it at all until you get pretty close up. But once you do, like, it is all over my stomach and chest pretty much. And I think it's starting to come into my back too, but I can't really see that well, so I haven't looked too closely at that. But it's definitely spreading more than I want. If it stays light like this, it's okay, I guess. It's not ideal, again, but I definitely do not want to start getting like the dark hairs, dark thick hairs, because I will, based on my family, and so that's not, I really don't want that. So I'm hoping that my voice will lower just a little bit more in the next, I don't know, few weeks maybe, and that I won't get any more hair that is past where I want it to be. And I'm thinking probably, I know I say this in like every update, oh yeah, I'm totally like right up at where I'm gonna stop. But like, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how long it's gonna take exactly, but I kind of feel like it's gonna be within the next month. I would be surprised if I go longer than another month, just because of how the changes have been kind of increasing the last little while, and I really don't want my hair to increase more than it probably will in the next few weeks. So we'll see about that, but for now, that's kind of what I'm expecting to happen. As far as other changes, my skin, I haven't really had any increased acne on my face. Well, I have a little bit here, but I'm pretty sure it's from shaving. It's not from hormones. It's just like, because it's all around this same area, which is the same area where I tend to get acne anyway, even if it is hormonal. But I don't know, I just feel like it's from shaving because it always happens like within a day of shaving. So it just kind of seems like it's from that. I do have more acne on my chest and my back. Still not like a huge amount, but it's noticeable. You probably could see it in the videos that I just showed of the hair. So that's kind of annoying, but it's not really that bad. It's not that big of a deal. The texture of my skin is a little bit different. It's not like, I don't know, like the only word I can think of to describe it is like rougher, but it's not. When I think of rougher, that makes me kind of think of like some kind of tactile sensation, and I don't think it really feels different to the touch. It's just kind of, I don't know, it's just not quite as soft, and I don't know. It's just not quite as soft, I guess. But it's not like it's more like the thickness of it, or like the buoyancy of it or something. I don't know exactly how to describe it, but it's not like that. It's not a tactile thing. It's just, it just feels a little bit different, but it's not that much different. I have had quite a bit more muscle growth over the last little while. I have actually also been working out quite a bit, which those things aren't totally unrelated, because I feel like it is easier for me to work out more when I'm on tea, and also to get probably faster results from working out when I'm on tea. But it's not like just taking the tea has just like made me muscly. It does, like I am actually like working for it. Yeah, so I will show a couple pictures here maybe of what my muscles look like, or what my sort of upper body especially looks like, because that's the main thing I'm kind of concerned with as far as working out. I have gained probably about 10 pounds since I've been back on tea. A lot of that has been just in the last like month or so. And I think part of that could be from the tea itself. Part of it is because I have been eating more and a little bit differently the last month or so. because I've been working out so much, so I'm trying to eat more protein and like, I don't know, just like eat a little bit differently than I normally would. But also part of it is probably just from the tea. I don't feel like I really had much in the way of mood changes. And actually in my last update, which was the first update that I made after I restarted tea, I think I kind of regret some of what I said in that, because I was talking about how I don't really like the feeling of being on tea, and that I kind of like couldn't wait to stop being on tea, and I just like, I don't know, like I think when I said that, I was kind of stuck in the memory of what it was like last year, which is not like I was miserable on tea or anything. I don't dislike being on tea. It's more just like, I don't know. There were some things last year that were kind of annoying. Like I did sleep a lot more last year, and I did have more, last year I had more kind of insecurity and emotional stuff, but I'm pretty sure most of that was just from stuff going on in my life. It wasn't so much from the tea. If it was, then I don't know. It's kind of hard to say for sure, but I haven't really had any of that this time. Actually, I've been doing fantastic. Mood-wise, and I mean I was before I restarted tea, and I have been since then, so it's not like I really had a big shift one way or the other. I feel really good being on tea. I felt good not being on tea. I don't know, I just feel really good. But I think I feel, in some ways I do feel better being on tea, just from enjoying some of the changes that I've gotten and things like that. And some of the stuff will go away. Like I probably will lose some of this muscle and some of this kind of, I don't know if I've actually had like muscle and fat redistribution or if it's just from working out. But I'm probably going to lose some of that when I stop tea. So I'm not looking forward to that. And I don't know, I guess I just kind of like feel, I don't know, there's some kind of like emotional meaning, not chemical emotional, just kind of like situational emotional positive effect of being on tea that I enjoy. And that's, I mean, I know that's not going to last forever because I'm not going to be on tea forever, but that's fine. I'll be fine after I stop tea because I'm happy either way. So, so when I talked about it before, I was kind of saying that like I didn't like being on tea, and it was just kind of like about getting the effects and then getting off of it. But now it's not really like that. So I don't know if it's an actual difference or if it's just my perspective has kind of changed because I don't know, things are just different now. I'm farther along in my transition. I'm just like, I don't know, there's just different stuff in my life now. And so it's hard to kind of pinpoint any one thing onto like chemically a tea thing, or if it's just like my situation. So yeah, so I haven't really had any big mood changes as far as like stuff that just came out of nowhere that was probably attributed to tea. I really haven't had that. When I made my last update, I was talking about that I was having a lot of insomnia, and I thought that could be from the tea. It's kind of hard to say because that kind of went away for a while, but then it kind of, wouldn't say it's come back, but I have had a little bit more trouble going to sleep the last few weeks, and I don't know if it's from tea or if it's just something else. Who knows? With all this stuff, it's really kind of hard to put it all on tea, or I don't know. It's just kind of hard to say for sure because there are so many variables in things, but it's not causing any problems for me as far as sleep is concerned. I'm still getting a decent amount of sleep, so I'm doing fine as far as that's concerned. And then I have not menstruated since when I restarted tea, it was on January 1st, and like toward the end of the month, like about 3 weeks into the month was when I last menstruated, and I haven't since then, so that's really awesome. I'm enjoying that. That is one of the things I am definitely not looking forward to coming back when I stop tea. That sucks. I'm not looking forward to that. So the only other thing I really have to talk about, I think, is the kind of TMI stuff. So I'll do a little sidebar of that, and I will put a timestamp here to where you can skip if you don't want to hear that stuff. So I have had some more bottom growth in the last, I don't know, couple months or so. The last tea update that I did, and also the last time I talked about this was actually in another video that I did about being on tea and being asexual, and in both of those I still had not gotten a huge amount of bottom growth. I got a little bit to begin with, and I mean it increased, I guess, a tiny bit kind of after that point, but I never had a lot of growth there. I never had what I felt like would be really noticeable to anybody if they saw it, which nobody has, because I haven't really had an occasion for anybody to see it, including like a doctor or anything. I just haven't gone to that kind of doctor in a while, or that kind of doctor's visit in a while. So now, over the last, I don't know, month and a half to 2 months, I have had more growth in that area. And I think that's kind of coincided with me upping my dose, which isn't too surprising, but it definitely would be noticeable to anybody. I think they would notice that it looked different from a typical cis girl would look. Yeah, so it definitely is bigger. It's still not like huge or anything. It's still in the, I would say it's kind of oblong, not elongated. That's probably about as specific as I'm going to get. And yeah, so it's still kind of mostly tucked away most of the time. So it's not like in my way or anything. It is a little bit unusual, but it's not, it doesn't really bother me. It's just kind of like, oh, that's different. Okay. So yeah. I will say that along with that, there has been a little bit more libido increase, which is kind of annoying. And yeah, so that's been there. Based on what has happened in the past, I'm like 99.9% sure that after I stop taking tea, that's going to kind of go back to how it was. And so, I mean, it's not that big of a deal, I guess. It's just kind of a little bit annoying. And I think that's about it for that stuff. So now, I think that pretty much covers everything that I wanted to talk about as far as tea changes and stuff, and also like kind of my plans, or not even my plans, my expectation, because I'm not planning to stop at any point. I'm not saying like, well, I'm going to stop at the 8-month mark. I really have no idea. I'm just kind of expecting that it's going to be within the next few weeks. I mean, it might be next week, it might be in 3 weeks. I don't know. Just based on how things have been going, that's kind of what I'm expecting. So we will see. I will probably make another video whenever I do stop, just to kind of talk about it. Or maybe I'll even wait like, I don't know, a few weeks and just talk about, I don't know, after it has stopped a little while. I don't know. We'll see. But if you have any questions, as always, you can leave them in the comments below. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to see more of my future content, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.